Hello, Bishop Montgomery. My name is Trisha B. Perez, and I graduated from Bishop Montgomery in 2003. I am an entrepreneur. I have 3 businesses. I run a financial business with my husband where we teach families to make, save, and invest money. I operate a design and consulting company where I help authors make their book ideas come to life. And in 2014, I founded Storm Praise Publishing. Storm Praise Publishing is a vehicle that I use to publish my own work and the work of my clients. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. You are living through a pandemic. These are times that are going to be taught in history books in the future. We're living in a monumental time in history, and most people haven't even realized it yet. I know that what you're going through is so tough. School is so different now. Physical activity is different. No more daily practices with your friends after school. No more exchanging high fives, celebrating victory. It's okay to grieve the loss of an old lifestyle. Even socializing is different. School isn't just about learning things in books. School is about socializing, being around people, hugging them, even flirting with your crush. And now, we do all of that on our phones. We use Instagram DMs, emojis, text messages. The world as we know it is upside down, and many people wouldn't have survived that type of a shift, but you did. You thrived when many people wouldn't have. You are in your formidable years and you are thriving. If anyone could do that, it's Generation Z. You are the generation that cares. You are the generation that takes action, and you are the generation that will lead our future. And that's exactly the reason why you need to prepare yourself for impacting the world on a large scale when the opportunity arises. The good news is that opportunity usually comes later in life. This pandemic experience that you're thriving in right now is the most potent experience. If you've ever felt like you've been lacking life experience, well, boom! Now you've got so much life experience in a very little amount of time. Anyone who's ever experienced greatness has also experienced adversity just like you are right now. The difference between someone who survives and thrives is oftentimes perspective. Have you ever seen the image of the people at the podium? They just completed a race and one person's standing at the podium, hands up in the air like, yeah, I just won. And then 2 people, one standing at first and one standing at second, look at the 3rd place winner like they're the ones who lost. And that's perspective. The quality of your experience can be greatly improved if you greatly improve your perspective. Listen, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. No one likes to work, but everyone likes money. So if we go to work dreading the work will be dreadful. But if we go to work grateful for the opportunity to earn money, now the work is a privilege. The power is in our hands, and the perspective that we choose will dictate the direction of our experiences. We gotta go to work anyways. We might as well choose a perspective that will make us experience more joy, right? So now is not the time to be hard on yourself. Can't you see that you're thriving right where you are right now? So the goal is really to try a bunch of new things. I suggest that you try a bunch of new things because your perspective and your interests are going to be changing all the time, especially now. The goal is really to try so many different things that you come across something that you didn't realize that you love. Something that you can use in your life in the future, and also possibly create a career or business around it so that you can get paid for it as well. You don't need to know what it is now, but you will never know unless you make time for a little fun here and there. Now, I'm going to challenge you to incorporate 1 to 3 hobbies into your life. Find a hobby that you can make money on. Find a hobby that you can be creative with. And then find a hobby that stimulates your mind. If you can find one hobby that serves more than one of these purposes, then you are now maximizing your time, and that's great because I know that you're busy. I know you have a lot of homework, and I know that this is a stressful time in life. but it is important that we allot time for fun and discovery like this. I want to help you design your dream life. The thing is, many people go to school, get a great job, and work in an industry for years before they realize that they've built a dream that belonged to someone else. It's better to build your big picture life later in life than to build someone else's big picture life right now. How do we apply what we just learned? Well, I have good news and I have bad news for you, and it's all the same news. The college that you attend is not going to guarantee success. The way that we will be successful is to learn a lot and apply massive action towards our life using what we learned. We're not just trying to get great grades. The thing is, you need both. And education comes in many different forms. And after you've been educated, you still need to apply your education in a massive way towards your life to get massive results. Many successful athletes and entrepreneurs attribute their success to their mindsets. The word metacognition means awareness of one's own thought process. One way to be aware of your own thought process is to journal. The reason why journaling is so helpful is because when we're journaling, we're writing down our thoughts. And if we're trying to be aware of our own thought process, it's very helpful to be able to look back at our own thought process. We get valuable data from that thought process that we can adjust and fine-tune to create a mental space that is conducive for growth. And that's what we want for ourselves, some place that's healthy in our minds and not a place that really tears ourselves down when we're alone. And another thing that we can do, which is probably the most powerful tip, is to study the word. Many times we're going to use the word to process hard things, but also apply it in practical ways, like using it to fact check. If someone tells you that you're worthless, you can read what your identity is in Christ, in the Bible. If someone says you can't do it, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13. So you can fact check and see that that's not true. And we also use it to make good decisions. Sometimes if you don't know if you're making a good friend, the Bible even says to judge a tree by its fruit. So if your friend is producing fruit that's not good for you, you might want to ask yourself if that's a good friend. And you can also use the word to combat the works of the enemy. When you're doing God's work, the enemy will feel threatened and he'll try to lie to you, he'll try to make you feel bad, and he will try to stop you in any way that he can. So one way to combat the enemy is to store the word in your heart so that you know when you're being lied to in your mind, people around you. Things are happening all the time and it can be quite confusing. So to store the word in your heart is really going to equip you to create an amazing future for yourself. My last tip that I want to share with you is to adopt a mindset. Now, I don't want you to just pick a mindset and live by it forever. What I'm suggesting is that you be your own mindset doctor. If you feel like you are making a lot of excuses, adopt a no excuse mindset, telling yourself, I don't care what feeling I'm feeling at this moment. If I set out to do something, I'm gonna have integrity with myself and I'm gonna do it no matter how I feel. And then if you feel like you're inadequate, adopt a growth mindset and tell yourself at that time, you know what, maybe I can't do it yet, but after I practice deliberately, I will be able to do it. And if you are having trouble making decisions in the now, adopt a big picture mindset. Decide what you want for your big future. That way, when you're making little decisions, you can always reference your big picture and see if it aligns. Sometimes we want to do something now that is going to take us further away from what we want in the future. And adopting a big picture mindset will really help you make decisions that support your big picture. How do you work towards a goal that may seem far and overwhelming? This is such an amazing question, and whoever submitted this question, my friend, you are going places. So I could talk about this for hours, but I'll do my best to be concise. I recently wrote a guide and published it last month. The title of it is called Ready, Set, Goal, the Gen Z Guide to Achieving More. And I go over topics like this. So if you'd like to learn more, feel free to look that guide up and dig deeper into this question. It's a really jam-packed question. But to be short, I think that a good first step would be to define a very clear why. Why are you working towards the goal, this long-term goal anyways? And make that why bigger than you. Make sure that your why isn't just money or some arbitrary thing like I want to be a millionaire. Million for what? Why is the number 1 million? Why is it about the amount of money you make? What is the purpose for that? So you really want to dig deep into why you're striving for your goal. So for example, if your goal to become a doctor is because you want to make a lot of money, I'm sorry to say this, but you're already setting yourself up for failure by thinking that way. What we really want to do is create and frame a why in a manner that we cannot give up on it. You want to make this why big and deep and impactful. So if you're working to become a doctor because you want to serve an underrepresented group of people in your community and you want to provide your children with maybe the home that you think that they deserve, then that is a great way to create a foundation for success, because you will not give up on the people you love. You will not give up on people and making a big impact. When your reason is bigger than just a number, you won't give up on it. And I use that same type of thinking for my long-term goals. I'm actually working to create a lifestyle for my family that I never had. I'm working so that I can create materials that I only create once, but for a lifetime will invest in the personal growth of other people. So it's really hard to give up on reasons like that. I believe that God created me in a certain way, and I'm inherently good at some things. And I've continued to spend a lot of energy refining myself and fine-tuning my skills and my craft. But I do believe that God gave me a gift in that way. So what I did was I just leaned in. I didn't exactly know what he was going to do with that, but I leaned in and I really framed my why as a fuel to continually move forward in what I think God called me to do and be. So I hope that was helpful. Really, the big idea is that if you have a big goal that takes a long time and it's easy to quit on, frame the reason why you're doing it in a way that you can't quit. Many times when it's tied to your heart, you won't quit. So if it was to buy your mom a house, most people won't quit on that, but they may quit on to make $10,000 this summer. So thank you so much for trusting me with your very valuable questions. Like I said, if you'd like to learn more, I dig really deep into this topic in my guide that I recently released, and you can find on Amazon, called Ready, Set, Goal, the Gen Z Guide to Achieving More. What advice would you give to someone who has a passion but has no idea how to go about it? This is a great question. And just by the way the question was phrased, I assume that the word passion is too closely tied to the word goal. When we have a passion, we are basically living a lifestyle. A passion isn't something that has an endpoint. So if you're wondering how do you go about a passion that you already have, the answer is you've already gone about it and you will continue to go about it. So the best advice I can share for you is to learn to learn. Learn to learn, because you are going to be on a lifelong mission to master your craft. So commit to mastering your craft, and if what you're really asking me is how do I make this my job or my living, I would just say continue to master your craft and keep your eyes open for opportunities to use your gift to serve people around you. You may not find out right away, but it's still good to get on the path that I've just described. It will take you to where you're trying to go. I'm gonna end with a short story about myself. I actually grew up loving hip hop. I loved beatboxing. I loved battle rapping with my friends. I loved playing with text on the computer, like making letters look pretty. And that was tough for me growing up. I really felt like, Lord, why did you make me like this? Why do I like so many things that will do nothing for my future? I really felt like I didn't know what to do with my future. I also had children really young and committed myself to my family. So I also felt like in my adulthood life, my working life, I was playing a little bit of catch up. But what I learned was that the Lord was building something in me that was going to take that much time. So it was intentional that I didn't just jump right into the workforce. Actually, he used that time. He doesn't waste ever, and this is evidence of that. He used that time to build me up for this opportunity that came many years later. So if you don't know what you're going to do with your future now, don't worry about it. Most people don't know what they're going to do for a long time. Some never figure it out. And my prayer for you is that you do. But don't feel pressured to know right now. In the meanwhile, enjoy the journey of being refined by the Lord. Lean into your passions and commit to mastering your craft, trusting the process. The Lord will guide you as He always has, and I have faith that you will be an amazing adult, contributing to society using the gifts that God gave you. So thank you so much for sharing your questions. That was an amazing one. I hope that I did justice by providing that answer.